Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to this week's episode of Tuesday Preppers, where normally we take a look at the in-game news and we talk about like killers and abilities and weapons and things that you might be able to equip to help you take on this week's challenges. I'm excited to say that this week we actually have, some actual content to work on, and the good news is it's not just like time limited content. It's permanently going to be a part of the game. At least some of it is. And I think that's really exciting for a lot of players, especially because of how much there is to the piece of content that we're going to be talking about, which is the Depths of Chaos event. And so we'll talk about that in just a moment. Some other important things that are going on this week also include us getting a raid and a free unit, as well as another NeoVisions Plus unit that are coming out, and some vision cards that I think are worth talking about. So let's just dive right in and talk about some of the changes. So first and foremost, we know that the new unit coming out is NeoVisions Plus Darkfina Esper of Destruction, and she's got kind of a boring step up without any perks, but she's a NeoVisions Plus unit, dark magic damage dealer, has kind of a whatever vision card and a whatever ability that's only useful for JP Anniversary magic damage dealers. Weapon's kind of cool. 100% aquatic killer, 100% human killer. It's pretty cool. It's a whip, allegedly. It looks like a katana, but it's definitely a whip according to this. And then I do like this 50% LB damage on an accessory slot. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, from what I understand, pretty similar to Xyrus that we just got. So maybe that's exciting, maybe that's not. I know some people are really excited for Darkfina. And like her role in the dark team, as we kind of shift a little bit from water to like water and dark both being good, which is kind of nice. Options are good. Then there's also this step up with this like banner of like united forces. Now I will say, for me personally, I have all 4 of these units that are on banner at EX3 already. So like for me right away, that's like I don't really want to go chasing after that because I've got all these units. I don't need any more copies of them. They're all, with the exception of Nora, they're all really old and not really, favorable right now. That said, for doing this step up, you do get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guaranteed Neos, an armory ticket, 2,000 Lapis replica, and a vision card at the end, which we'll talk more about the vision card, which is kind of like the main prize for a lot of people. But as far as like the units that are on banner, I'm not super excited about it for me personally. Yeah, we'll talk about that. The armory does include a bunch of actually really good things. Strength of Fellowship is fairly good. Spectral Fields Forever is good. Tower Defense is great. All You Need Is Strength is great. Killer of Myths is pretty good. The Buckler and the Mirror both have their uses. Limits of Magic, pretty good. Black Submarine, very useful. Mythical Order, pretty good. Yeah, there's some good things here. So like, if you're interested in an armory ticket, that's a great way to pick one up. The question then becomes, are you really interested in this vision card? If we skip past Darkfina's because whatever, and we look at this Xyrus vision card, it looks pretty stylish looking mage on there. It's attack and magic 170. With 80% attack and magic, LB damage 50, and boosted equipment attack and magic 50% with weapons in both hands, with 250 attack and magic if you are a water category unit, and an additional 500 if you are a Clash of Wills unit. So really, who really wants this is either Ong or Xyrus. Those are like the 2 big ones, but you've also got to look at things like Kaito is both water and Clash of Wills. Tiana, while not a great unit, is both water and Clash of Wills. The Guardian of the Underworld Chao is water and Clash of Wills. They're gonna get the most bang out of this card. But anybody who's Clash of Wills at all is gonna still have a 170 card with 500, or anybody who's water is gonna have a 170 card with 250. So like, I think it is pretty good. It's definitely best in slot for Xyrus himself. But like, I don't know if I really want to chase after it, because like I said, all those units being on the banner ones that I don't really want more copies of really deters me personally from wanting to pull on it, no matter how good this card is. So I'm on the fence here. The other perks on the banner are kind of nice. A bunch of Neos and an armory ticket and things like that. But the big detractor for me is all those units that I do not want on the banner, and that's a hard way to spend my Lapis. Yeah, let's talk about the events though. So we do have some events coming up. We'll start with this one here, the Power of Destruction. We'll get this out of the way. Where is that? Here we go. So the first thing here is the Power of Destruction. Now, Power of Destruction is a raid, and we're excited about that because we have not had a raid in a long time. Oh, not this one. Look at that. It's a raid, and the boss actually looks pretty cool. This is Shadow Bismarck, and it has no weaknesses or resistances, and you can only break his attack and magic as usual with a raid. You can also give him disease. Whatever disease you're going to give a whale. I don't know what whales get, like barnacle crust or something like that. This Vision Souls item we've gotten before. It's kind of whatever. And then this new item is the Effulgent Ring with resistances to a lot of elements. These are like not that great. They do tell you that you want to go ahead and set up a Anniversary JP unit. So if you have an EX3 JP Anniversary unit, you're going to want them set up as a friend unit for both this event and the next event we're going to talk about, to help your friends out who are farming and doing their raid participation. So I've already got an EX3 JP Anniversary unit set as my friend. So hopefully you're going to do the same. The next piece of content is Ruler of the Ocean. And we have not had one of these in a long time. But this is a character enhancement event. We're going to get the new Esper of Destruction, Charlotte. And she's a magic tank. She's free. She's got an SLB that reduces mitigation for all allies and does damage, which is, maybe that's useful, maybe that's not. She is also going to be a focus unit, Focus Plus, for the current Clash of Wills. So maybe if you don't have like Abigail, maybe she can sub in for you and be like a focus unit and a magic tank for you. That could be kind of cool. But she's free. And she's got some stuff with some HP, Spirit, and Attack on it, and then a TMR that does Attack and Spirit, True Double Hand, which is nice. There's not a whole lot that does that, so it's kind of cool to have it. And then she's got an Aquatic Killer mitigation, or Aquatic mitigation with Demon and Reaper on it as well, actually. And then an Attack and Magic break. So she's maybe got some things that might be useful as a free unit. I can certainly see some value in having a free EX3 Neovisions Plus Era Magic Tank. Definitely cool. The boss is an enemy, or an aquatic enemy, Ophion. Again, no weaknesses or resistances, and you can use all the breaks you want. But just, again, set a JP Anniversary friend unit. That way your friends can farm this out really quickly. In fact, it's actually exclusive to JP Anniversary. So hopefully you've got a bunch of those. But those two are just kind of like sub content that we're getting. I am like less excited about those, as excited as I am for them, but I'm really excited about Depth of Chaos. So Depths of Chaos is a challenge event, but it's actually permanent content. It says here at the bottom that Depths of Chaos is going to be moved to the Nemesis tab 2 weeks after it's released. And so I think that's really cool because the rewards here are pretty good. And the challenge level is fairly high based on the types of things you're going to need for this event. So like new players might have a hard time depending on like how hard it is, how hard each individual boss is, and like what types of units you have available. And we'll see what I mean by that in a second. But across the entire event, you're going to need Human Killer, Fairy Killer, Plant Killer, Aquatic Killer, Demon, and Dragon for this challenge. And each boss has missions that require you to kill it twice with different categories of units to get all the rewards. What this breaks down to is there's 6 different bosses and a boss rush at the end. And each boss has a mission for you to beat it with 2 different categories. I'll show you what those categories are right here. And this might be kind of hard to read on the screen, but so for example, the first boss, Dark Nike, is a human fairy boss, and there's a mission for you to beat it with rebellion units and a mission for evocation units. So you have to have 2 teams for that one to get all the rewards. Same thing for Dark Ate, is human fairy, rebellion, and harbingers of chaos, which is the new category. Dark Gaukaerna is a plant boss, royal arms and gathering. Dark Phycoduras is an aquatic boss, blessings of the crystals and evocation. Dark Medusa is a demon, blessing of the crystals and gathering units. And then finally, Dark Two-Headed Dragon, dragon and harbingers of chaos, and royal arms. All the bosses in this event have no weaknesses or resistances except for Medusa and Two-Headed Dragon. Medusa is weak to ice, water, thunder, and earth at 50%, and Dragon is weak to water, wind, fire, wind, light, and dark. So depending on what you've got going on, it might be easy to put the teams together. It might not be easy to put the teams together, but the hardest part is when you have to fight all of these bosses in a row, all 6 in a row. And the requirement for that one is thankfully really liberal. And they say you can just bring an FFBE team. It's any units that has the FFBE tag. And in my case, I feel like that's really, really easy. Even though it's like all 6 bosses in a row, Global has access to some really powerful units that are going to help us do this. And I'm going to show you the team that I'm planning on taking. In general, magic tanks are going to be useful on almost every fight. And you want to have resistances to pretty much every element except for fire and thunder. None of the bosses do fire and thunder attacks. Most of the bosses do some sort of status effects on you, and they also reduce your resistances to those status effects. So you really want to have immunity buffs from like party members and status immunity gear so that you have like full resistance to those. Most of the bosses also either do stop, death, or charm. Oftentimes those stops are AoE, so you really want to gear your team with stop immunity gear and have some way of buffing stop immunity. Thankfully we have that, and I'll show you the team that I'm thinking about taking. It's right here. So the team that I'm planning on taking for the final boss rush is Abigail for magic tanking, Melissa for stat buffs and things, Hyo for doing damage, Elisperis for doing breaks and the dark imperil field, and then Roka for doing the LB damage leader, LB damage field and just dark damage, and that's kind of where I'm leaning. So give you an example here. Melissa's geared with a lot of status resistances across the board. Everybody's got status immunity, and she's got mitigations and stuff for a bunch of the different races. There you go. Melissa is just kind of geared for passive provoke, evasion, and status immunities. Just geared for damage and killers. Also has status immunity and stop immunity. There you go. Same gear in both forms. Elisperis, same thing. We were pulling out all the stops with like Vidium ribbon and super ribbon and things like that. But it gives her what she needs. She's got status immunity, and she doesn't have full killers, but she does have dragon, which is the big one at the end, so that's important. And then same thing with Roka. We're just geared for status immunity, evocation damage, LB damage, and then as much killers as we can. She only really has, aquatic, demon, dragon, fairy. Most of those are kind of like at 275. She does have a couple 300s and like a couple 200s. She's kind of hard to gear for everything, but she does have everything that I want her to have. She's not really our main damage dealer. She's our leader, though, and I want her to be able to contribute, especially on that final level. And there you go. So some other examples of some teams that you might want to work with. So like if you had to put together a rebellion team, for example, I've got one here that's like, a magic tank with Ash, a buffer with Ihana, and then like, 3 rebellion breakers and damage dealers. So I've got Ramza leading, Agrius chaining with Ramza, and Yuffie tag team chaining with herself, for times when I want to do rebellion teams, or maybe, like an invocation team. In this case, I geared for the, I'm kind of preparing for like the fairy demon one. So I've got like Seymour magic tanking, magic or killer buffs from Dark Fina, and then like, you know, LB Field, Imperial Field, just doing good damage with Axstar. So like, we've got, you know, some options. We get some options here. You know, an example of like a Royal Arms team, you know, depending on what you're facing. In this team, I was gearing up for the Plant boss, right? Because Plant has a Royal Arms mission. You know, Bohemia's doing status immunities and tanking. Chizuru is killer buffing and chaining. We got some fire damage dealers. Imperial Field's breaks from Galuf, you know, all kinds of things like that. You kind of get the idea. But depending on how much units you have, this could get really difficult. And some categories are just really bad, like Blessing of the Crystal does not have a good Imperial Field or good breakers, really. So you got to work with what you got. So I've got like, you know, kind of a light team going here for the Blessing of the Crystal missions that we had. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know, you know, but the fun thing is, and Harbingers. So like Harbingers is even harder because there's not very many good guys or people who can like buff your party in the Harbingers. So you just got a lot of damage dealers in Ihana. Like it's really kind of it. So hopefully this is going to go okay. But I'm really excited to see that, you know, Solitary Warrior Veritas of the Frost is a harbinger of chaos. And a lot of other units are too. So we'll see that category more on Thursday. But they did show that in the news. But I'm really excited because this is like, because you have to do each mission twice and then the boss rush, you've really got 13 pieces of content that are coming out with like all these different teams that you get to put together to get all the rewards. And I think that's exciting, even though it's like a little tedious. You got all these clears, like it's something to do. It's going to be really time consuming, and like it's going to be stuff to put together. And I'm going to try and record all the different clears that I do and then kind of string them all together, because this is permanent content and it's going to be useful for people for a long time, I think. Because some players, it might take them a while to like kind of gather all the units that they need to go for it. But this is the team that I'm planning on taking for the final boss rush, where you cannot take a friend, and hopefully this works out. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Last thing that I want to talk about is that as far as like other stuff that's kind of coming out this week, they did pop up here that the Esper of Destruction story is kind of coming to an end, with Chapter 5, Part 1 and 2 being added to the game. I have not done any of this yet, so I'm excited to do this live on Twitch with everybody and like kind of go through the story together and see all the cutscenes and all the stuff, and you know, get all the Lapis that I have not gotten yet. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And then other than that, it's just some like login bonuses and things like that. So really, honestly, kind of a big week. We got a free unit, a new unit, a raid, and then this like Depths of Chaos thing, which is tons and tons of fights, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to it. As far as the maintenance, they do say that maintenance is happening tomorrow night, and it's going from 11 o'clock, no, 2100 to 7. So I mean, I doubt it's going to go that long. Lately, they've been cutting this early, but I mean, you know, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Either way, I'll be doing all the content, like the difficult content, live on Twitch Thursday night at, you know, I actually might even start a little early because there's so much to do. Either way, but I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you're looking forward to it too. I'm curious to hear, like, you know, what teams are you thinking about taking now that you know a little bit more about Depths of Chaos? Like, let me know in the comments, you know, what teams you're wanting to take, or what teams you'd be curious to see, what teams you're having a hard time gearing for or planning for, based on the categories that we know you have to face, kind of coming up on Thursday. And let me know too if you're a Dark Fina fan. Like, I know some people are. Like, I've been talking a lot with Sketch really excited about Dark Fina, and has like skipped a lot of stuff in preparation for getting ready to pull Dark Fina. So I mean, I'm curious, like, are you excited about Dark Fina? Let me know that in the comments too. Why are you excited about Dark Fina? What are you hoping to do with Dark Fina, and stuff like that. So in the meantime, you guys be good to each other. Take care. I know we usually talk about where you can find all these killers that you need, but there's so much other stuff to talk about. And we have talked about all these, like, especially aquatic. We've talked about a lot lately. I thought it'd be more valuable to talk about Depths of Chaos in depth. Aha. And kind of talk about what you need to get ready for that. So in the meantime, hopefully that's useful, and I'm looking forward to doing this stuff with you and stringing together a long video of all those clears, and have some fun with it, and have fun with the game, because honestly, like, lately there's been nothing to do, and now all of a sudden we're gonna have a ton to do with Depths of Chaos. So be good to each other, take care, and we will see you on Thursday over on Twitch.